Dylan Harper this, Ace Bailey that. Maryland's Derik Queen will win the Freshman of the Year.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tre Moore, host of Locked On Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you for making us part of your day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. And I'm also doing work at InsideBlackandGold.net, so make sure you guys head over to InsideBlackandGold.net for all your latest Terps news. I think Maryland's Derik Queen is the best freshman in the Big Ten and is going to win the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. I feel like this is a controversial take because the Big Ten is kind of loaded this year with some talented freshmen, unlike last year's. Last year was it wasn't a great year for freshmen in the Big Ten, but this year it's a different situation. There are a lot of really high-level freshmen in the Big Ten, and there's guys that are going to be top 5 draft picks. But I honestly think that Maryland's Derik Queen is going to be the best of them all this year. I want to focus on this year, but I'm not saying in the future. I'm not talking about in the NBA. I'm talking about this year as a college player. I think that Maryland's Derik Queen is going to be the best out of all of them this year, and I think he'll end up actually winning the Big Ten Freshman of the Year in the Big Ten. I really do believe that. I think he's the best. I think he's the best player out of all of them in terms of college game. It's definitely going to be an interesting type of race down the end, but I just think that Maryland's Derik Queen is going to able to win that award this year. I think it's not going to be an easy award to win, but I really do believe that Derik Queen is going to be able to be the top freshman of the year this season in the Big Ten. So a lot of you guys are going to argue some of these other guys, like I said in the beginning of the opening statement of this podcast. There are some top guys, and I like the guys at Rutgers. I think the Will Riley kid at Illinois is a really good player. There's a lot of different guys, and there's a lot of different teams that have dudes, to be honest, that are freshmen. But I think that when I look at Derik Queen, his game translates to exactly what you want in a college a basketball player. He's a guy that I don't know what his pro game looks like. I think he can be successful. I think it's kind of an interesting type of player at the next level. I don't know exactly how he fits in, but I think that him as a college player, it's exactly what you want in a college player. I think Derik Queen is. He's a guy that plays with a really high IQ and can do everything on the court. And that in college gets you to be a really good player. If you have a high IQ as a big man and can do all things on the court and can move really well for his size, that lets you be a really top-end player. He's not the most freakish athlete ever, but I do believe that he is going to win Big Ten Freshman of the Year. And he just won Big Ten Freshman of the Week. And so if you start accumulating a bunch of Big Ten Freshman of the Weeks, you're going to end up winning the award. And he just won Big Ten Freshman of the Week, and I think it was absolutely deserved. I thought he was the best freshman. I thought he last week, and I thought he's played big in big moments. That's a big reason why I think Maryland's Derik Queen is going to win Big Ten Freshman of the Year, because he's played big in big games. When our Maryland's 2 biggest games of the year, Derik Queen did not shy away at all. Put up big-time performances against Marquette and Villanova, and that's a big reason why I think he's going to win the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Because right now, when Maryland needs a big bucket in a big moment, it's been Queen. It hasn't been some of the other guys on our team, and there's other guys on our team that can do it. But it's mainly been Derik Queen. When we need a big play in a big moment, he takes the shots. And part of winning this award is making big plays and filling up the stat sheet, of course, but it's making big plays in the big moment. And I think Derik Queen has proved that he's a guy that's going to do it. And I think when I watch him play, I say he's a guy that is going to fill up a stat sheet all around. I think Ace Bailey's a good player, but I don't think he's all around as good as Derik Queen. And Ace Bailey has his ceiling is so high what he can be. He shows flashes of almost like a Kevin Durant type of guy, but in terms of his play right now, what he does at a consistent level, I don't think he matches up with what Derik Queen is. I think Derik Queen just it's going to be a little bit more consistent this year. And we've seen it in the big games. Against Villanova, Queen had 22 points, 5 assists, 11 rebounds, and shot 64% from the field. That's a big time performance. And he had a couple of plays down the stretch, that fadeaway jump shot, that dunk, that driving dunk to his left hand, where he makes big plays in big moments. Same thing with Marquette, 24 points against the 15th ranked team in the country at the time. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, played an absolute pivotal role in us almost winning that game. And I think when I look at Queen, I think I see a guy that is going to be a guy that is going to play consistently. Like, he's not relying on shooting. He's not relying on making shots. Like, he's just an overall really good basketball player. And when I think of the Rutgers freshmen specifically, I know Dylan Harper just had a huge game. I know he had a huge game last night, but I think when we're talking about consistency, winning this award is about consistency. I don't see the Rutgers freshmen, either one, Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper, being as consistent as Maryland's Derik Queen is. Sure, Dylan Harper had 36 last night, but I guarantee there's going to be a couple games when we get into Big Ten play where teams really start looking at him as the guy, and all of a sudden he has 8 points and he shoots 20% from the field. I'm already telling you guys, I can already see it. Same thing with Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey has been a good player and he's really talented, but the same thing's going to happen with him. He actually did that a little bit last night against Notre Dame, where he struggled in an OT game where he only had 10 points while still shooting 100% from the three-point line. So you shoot 100% from the three-point line, you only had 10 points. That's definitely a concern. You only shot 33% from the field. So I see those guys being more up and down, where their ceilings as NBA prospects are higher than Queen's. But as college players, I think that they're better. And then there's the other kid at Illinois that's really talented. Though I think his name's the Will Riley kid, who's been really good. But I think Queen's better than Will Riley. I think Will Riley has played well, but I don't think he's going to be as good as Queen. And I think Queen's stuffs the stat book in more ways than all those guys do. We've seen him have a 20 rebound game already. We also see him have like 5 assists against Villanova. We see him on the defensive side of things, guarding the best big usually, which is definitely matters. I just think he's going to put up a more all-around type of game, where Ace Bailey, on the other hand, look how many assists he has through his first couple of games. Notre Dame, 1 assist. When they lost to Kennesaw State, 0 assists. When they played another team before that, Monmouth only had 0 assists, 1 assist in the game after. Like, he's not putting up very many other. He's not rebounding at a particularly high level besides one game where he had 10. Like, he's not doing a bunch of stuff to fill the stat sheet. Whereas I see Queen, he's doing so many different things. Well, I think when we look at it down the stretch, and we're going to come back and look at this, I do see a guy that is going to win Freshman of the Year. I'm not going to lie. It's not a guarantee. Dylan Harper is giving himself a really good case, but I think Dylan Harper, I think that in terms of the Rutgers team, I just think that he's going to start to struggle when we get to Big Ten play. Not in every game. I just think he's going to have enough struggling spots where we look at him and say, it could be tonight. Look at this game against Alabama. I think this could be a game where a guy like Dylan Harper potentially struggles and doesn't have the type of game that he may want. I can absolutely see that tonight from Dylan Harper. I think that's entirely a possibility. Whereas Derik Queen, as a guy that knows how to get it done, I don't see as many spots where he potentially struggles. Sure, it can happen, but I just don't see it as much. And I think when we look at a consistency basis, when we look at an all-around type of thing in terms of Queen's shot block, in terms of his rebounding, in terms of his passing at a high level for a big man, I see a guy that's going to have a really good shot at winning the award. Now, I feel like Harper and Ace are a tad more popular, and this stuff can become a celebrity thing eventually, and those two guys could go top 3 in the NBA draft. But I do believe that Queen is going to be the best guy when we come down to it. And honestly, a lot of this comes down to how good your team is. And call me crazy, but Maryland, I don't think this is a crazy statement at all. Maryland's better than Rutgers this year. Rutgers has those 2 talented freshmen, but I don't think they have a lot. We'll see what Rutgers is made of against Alabama tonight. I don't think they stay in that game, but I don't think Rutgers' team is that good. And a lot of this comes down to a team award. It's not all about what you do. And I think Maryland's team is better than Rutgers' team and will have a better record. And then Derik Queen, the best freshman on a better team, I think has a good chance at playing at a pretty high level. Let's move on. Let's talk about Maryland basketball. They should dominate Bucknell tonight. I'll talk about that next. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook apps gives you everything you need to place live bets all in the NFL, all in one place. So when you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-plays, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel. There's so many different things you can bet on right now on FanDuel. There's so much college basketball on today. It's actually crazy the amount of college basketball that's on. It's feast week or whatever they call it in college basketball. And then the NFL, of course, Thanksgiving game. So if you want to bet on any of those games, you can do that on FanDuel as well as the NBA. There's NBA games tonight and almost every day. So if you want to bet on that, you can do that over on FanDuel. So never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. I think Maryland basketball should dominate Bucknell tonight. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't dominate them, but I do want to give you guys a quick preview of the game tonight. I love this Maryland basketball team. I don't remember a team that I've found as intriguing, as entertaining as this Maryland basketball team. I think you would probably have to go back to the Melo Trimble days. Mel Trimble, Anthony Cowan, when they played together for a year, maybe that team. But this team really excites me this year. And I think we can be as good as anybody. I think we can be a top 25 team. If we keep winning, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be. I think we proved it against Marquette in a game. I think we kind of sold. That game. When I say sell, I mean it's a game we kind of gave away. I thought it was a game we could have won easily. I thought we were better. Like when I went guy for guy and how I felt when you watched the game, I felt Maryland was better than Marquette. I thought Marquette had some good players. I thought Marquette did some good things, but I thought Maryland was the better team, to be honest, than Marquette. And I don't know if it didn't show in the final scoreboard. We only lost by 4. They are a top 15 team in the country, but I do think we're better. But I think tonight against Bucknell, I think Maryland absolutely should win. And I think coming off the Villanova win, I think the vibe would be a lot different if we weren't able to pull off that Villanova win. I think a lot of people would say, well, now you just got to win a lot more games, it kind of feels like. But now I feel like the pressure's off a little bit, and there's not a ton of pressure in this game against Villanova. Against Bucknell, excuse me. We're better than them. And I think Maryland should probably dominate Bucknell. They're 4-3 so far in the year. But their 2023 record, they went 10-8 in Patriot League play, 14-19 overall. So they're an above average Patriot League team. There's one kid that you definitely that I'm definitely going to be looking out for, but I think that we kind of are going to do well against him because of our two bigs. They do have a 7-footer who's actually pretty good, who leads the Bison in points at 17 points per game, 16.9 to be exact, in Noah Williamson, a good junior center, 7 foot. But he's definitely a guy. He tried to shoot the three a little bit, but he's definitely better inside. He shot the three ball pretty well last year, but this year he's only shooting 18.2 from 3-point his 3-point percentage. But he is a guy that gets a lot of points per game. He's their best player. He also blocks a lot of shots. But I think Queen and Reese neutralize a guy like that. And I think Maryland's not going to be scared to just double Bucknell down low. I think there's no reason not to, and then rotate after that and not let that guy going, because that seems where a lot of their offense comes from. Is that kid? He's a talented kid down there at 7 feet and can do a lot of different things. But I think that Maryland should be able to guard that and should be able to put up with that. I'm not too concerned about the rest of their team, so I do think they should dominate. Besides that, they have a couple other guys that are decent players, but it's just like they're just not as good as the Maryland team. It's as easy as that. They have a kid, Joe Basco, that averages 15 points per game, shoots a decent percentage from three, and they have a kid, Ian Moda, that shoots that averages 12 points a game. But they're just not what we are. They just aren't. They do a good job with protecting the paint with that kid. With the kid Noah Williamson, they block a lot of shots and everything. But I just think that when it comes down to it, there's no reason why Maryland shouldn't dominate this game. I'll be looking for our guards to play at a really high level. I want to see Selton Miguel and Deshaun Harris-Smith get going a little bit, and maybe Malachi Palmer as well. I think those guys are kind of slowing down a little bit, and we need another guy along with Rice and Gillespie if we want to reach the full potential of our team. I think we need another guy to step up. That could help. That could hurt us down the stretch if there's not one more guy that can step up. And I look to Selton Miguel as that guy. I think he's a good player. I just think he's slowed down a little bit, which I don't think we definitely don't need that. So I want to see Selton Miguel get his shot going a little bit. I want to see his playmaking get going a little bit. I think he's a good player. I just think it's right now he just hasn't completely adjusted. And then I'm looking at Malachi Palmer as a guy to get more minutes tonight against Bucknell and see how he plays, because he has a real opportunity to maybe where Kevin Willard wasn't expecting him to have to be in the rotation this year, but we might actually want him in there because he might be ready to go, ready to play. And if he is, then we're going to play him. And I think he's a real opportunity to get consistent minutes this year. And I think Willard wants to see if he's ready. He showed against Villanova he had a humongous three against Villanova. And if he's able to do that and play good defense, then Kevin Willard's going to want him in there. I think that's going to be big. Of course, we're really looking for Queen and Reese. I just talked about Queen and see what Queen can do. But I think overall, this is a game we should win. The spread's like over 20 points. I don't usually I'm not going to recommend a big spread or anything, but I do think there's a good shot that we cover it, because I think Maryland's team is a little bit better than what people think and what Vegas even. Actually, I want to say this. Vegas has kind of respected us this year. Marquette, we were 2-point favorites against Villanova. We were 5-point favorites. So on the road too. So Vegas definitely has kind of respected Maryland this year, but definitely a topic of conversation. But I do think we should absolutely dominate this Villanova team. I keep saying Villanova, this Bucknell team. I don't think they can stick with us. I don't think they can run with us. I don't think they're as athletic as us. If we stop that big man, we double him down low, I don't see a lot going for them, and I think we win the game pretty big. Maryland football needs to get up for this Penn State game. I'll talk to you guys about that right now. So Maryland, Penn State this weekend. We'll talk tomorrow. I'll have a preview game with Locked On Knitting Lions. So make sure you guys go check that out on tomorrow's episode. It's a really good episode. We preview the game, talk overall about everything. But I want to talk about this game a little bit before that episode. Maryland needs to get up. This is our Super Bowl. This is our Super Bowl. This is our bowl. This is our Super Bowl. Whatever you want to call it. Maryland football should get up for this. This is a game that they absolutely should be excited to play. This is a game where if you're not excited to play, then why are you doing this? We play a Penn State team that's what? The new college football rankings came out. What are they, like top 5 in the nation? What are they, fourth? Yeah, the fourth. They're number 4 in the nation. This is a game you should get up for. This is a game you should be excited about. And James Franklin seems to be petty, talking about how he should have been the next coach at Maryland or whatever. Who was next in line, and he was. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have been, but this is a game against Penn State where you absolutely should be able to. I know we not been the most motivated team over the last couple of weeks, and we haven't looked good. And I'm not going to say we can pull up an upset, but if you're able to make this game close, if you're able to beat Penn State, I always say this, crazier things have happened in college football and college sports and in the world. Just crazier things have happened. Maryland beating Penn State would be by far or definitely not the craziest thing that has happened in sports in the world. Like, there's crazier things that happen than Maryland being a Penn State team. It can make your year seem a whole lot better if you – I don't want to say just compete, but if you're able to beat Penn State. And I think the fans will be proud if it's a close game. At Happy Valley on the road, if you're able to pull a stunner off and ruin State's playoff chances, that's something that could be really cool. And that's something that doesn't happen a lot, and that's something that is an upset that would be one of the upsets of the year. And so if you can't get up for that to get excited to beat a team like that, then you shouldn't be playing at the end of the day. You shouldn't be playing if you can't get excited about something like that, because I think Maryland has every shot to be able I don't want to say that. That kind of just flowed out of my mouth. I don't want to say they have every shot to win the game, but they have. I want to say that. I meant to say this. They have every shot to kind of just say whatever. Like, we don't care. Like, we're not going to beat them. Like, they're better than us at this point. They definitely have the opportunity to do that. But I want to see a Maryland team get up for this game, put up a fight, make Penn State sweat it out a little bit, make them think for themselves, put the pressure on them. I know they put their pads on just like you do. That's what people say. They put the pads on just like you do. So why is it any different? Why can't you figure it out? I also think it'll be interesting to see with Billy Edwards' injury. Michael actually said he should be good to go. I don't really know if I prefer any quarterback playing. I wouldn't mind seeing MJ Morris play. I wouldn't mind if Billy Edwards plays, but I want to see whoever plays. I want to see how they play. I want to see if they're able to do anything against a Penn State team that's a really good football team. There's a reason they're top 4 in the nation. There's a reason that they're probably going to have a bye in the first round of their playoff game. So it's exciting. It's an exciting type of game. It's a game that I definitely want to see. And whenever you play the 4th team in the country, it's going to be interesting. We'll see if we're able to compete with them. We'll see if we're able to put up a fight. We've had a lot of bad games over the last couple of weeks, but I want to see what we're able to do. I want to see if we can do anything special. I want to see if we can put together a good game. This is the last game of the year. This is it after this. We're not going to a bowl game no matter what happens. This Penn State win doesn't count as 2. They're not going to put us into a bowl game after this. So let's see what we can do in the final game for the Terps. I think that can be an exciting game to watch, and something that a lot of people around the country could be interested if Maryland's able to keep it close. Could be a topic of conversation. That's all we have for today. Thank you for listening to Locked On Terps. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're here every day talking Maryland football and basketball. So thank you for listening to Locked On Terps.